Hello, you are listening to Profoundish. My name is Alex Duquette. I'm also going to be joined by Weston Hasty as we talk about summer break as a kid, but we also talk about body parts we're attracted to, and we talk a little bit about learning another language, so it's kind of all over the place today. But after that, we rope it all back in, and we put up a tier list as we rank our favorite summer activities. All right, let's get going. This is Profoundish. All right, well, we're here. Hey.
I love how excited you said, well, we're here. Again, this goddamn thing.
God, this thing we do every week, which we've done every week.
We have.
We haven't missed a week. That was one of our goals.
Right. There were times where, it would have been convenient to miss a week, But we didn't do that. We said no.
That's right. We said no. Just one word. There were a couple close calls though, where it just, you're right. We got close.
We got close. We had the foresight throughout the year to get as ahead as we reasonably can as two guys that do other stuff, to get ahead on episodes so that when shenaniganry happened, we were okay.
Right. Shenaniganry. Is that a word?
I doubt it. I'm going to try to Google it. Here's the question. Can I spell shenanigan? I know I can't.
I don't know how to spell it.
Shenanigan. Hang on. Let me see if I get shenanigan right. Oh, I did. Okay.
I want to hear this, yeah.
And then add RY to it and see what I get. Showing results for shenaniganery. Oh, it is a word. Shenaniganery. It's a noun. Uncountable, rare, acts of shenanigans, incidents of trickery or mischievous play. This is a very rare word.
Well, that worked out for you. Look at that.
I am an English what's the word I'm looking for? Guy. Graduate. There we go. I couldn't think of the word graduate. I could think of the word shenaniganry, but I couldn't think of graduate. I am an English graduate. I have an education in shenaniganery.
Oh man, speaking of that, I actually had an English question for you.
Okay.
Dang it, I lost it. Man, well, it was just random. I wasn't planning on asking you this right now, but I was listening to a podcast and somebody asked does this work this way? And then I thought, I bet you Weston would know. He recently just graduated majoring in that, but now I can't. I don't know. If I remember it, I'll ask you.
Please do. I want to know what English questions there are. It's always fun because the English language is just a mix of a few languages smashed together. All the rules make no sense because they're all borrowed from other things, and it's just great. The consistency is all over the place.
Most people say English is one of the hardest to learn. Is that really true? I don't know. I only speak English.
Learning a new language at all is always difficult on some level, but it depends on what you're starting from. So if you're say you're Chinese and your primary language is Mandarin, going to English is pretty tricky because it is just wildly unlike what you're used to. Same thing with the other way around. If you're an English speaker trying to go to Mandarin, very difficult. The structure, everything's just completely different from what you're used to. Same thing with Japanese or Korean or whatever. But say you speak English and you want to learn German, or you're German, you want to speak English. Those are very similar languages, closely connected. There are a few different rules, but English has a lot of Germanic roots. So, if you're German, learning English isn't nearly as hard as if you were German trying to learn, I don't know, probably one of the same languages like Mandarin or maybe Afrikaans or something like that.
Right. I wonder.
So it just depends.
Is that why that is alongside taking out Spanish? I know that German is usually a pretty common language to learn in a lot of schools, high schools.
Yeah.
Do you think
your big three are Spanish, German, and French?
French is a big one too. Yeah. I don't know if our school did that. Did our school do French?
No, our school, when we were in school, just did Spanish. I think they used to do German before we got to like high school, like many years before we got there. But I think they used to offer it, I think.
I was going to ask for a checkup on this. I remember a long time ago, you were like all up in that Duolingo game with your Spanish. You still play around with that at all?
I do, and they've updated it. I took a long break and I came back to it because I do that. Like I try to do like the daily thing to kind of keep my stuff fresh, but then I'll like skip a day or something, and that turns into like one day turns into 7 months. It's like, oh shoot, I need to like make sure I'm not losing my Spanish. So I've been on it again here lately. They've done a bunch of updates, and I was confused at first because I thought they had put me back down into like the second unit of lessons or whatever. I'm like, why am I all the way back at the beginning? And then I started doing the lessons and they were really hard. And I'm like, but why is it so hard? And I'm like, oh, they changed how their units and they're like, I forget what the hell they're called now. They're, anyway, they track it differently. And I'm like, oh, there's a tab here. I'm on like the 4th tab, unit 2 of that one. I'm like, okay, now this makes sense.
Right. Do you think as someone like me who I've never taken a Spanish course, do you think something like Duolingo would not be very effective? Like, is it like more of a tool, or could it be something that I could learn kind of at least some basic like Spanish with it?
A lot of people dunk on Duolingo, especially like if you're. I heard this a lot when I was taking Spanish in college, where like Duolingo kind of got laughed at as being not a very good app. But then you compare it to any other app available, and it's like it's the best app you can get for learning Spanish that is accessible. Like I've never used Babbel. Is it Babbel? Yeah, I've never used Babbel. That's a classic one that's been around for like ever, and people have sworn by it or whatever. But if you just want something that you can literally get for free and jump right in and just start trying it, because Duolingo has a premium version, which I actually pay for. But
okay.
Yeah, no, accessibly, and it's updated a lot. It's really good now, and there's a lot of different lessons. There are reading lessons, listening lessons, speaking lessons. It's got a lot going on. So if you don't know very much at all, you can use it as a jumping point just to start throwing yourself into it. And I think it's really good. In terms of will you ever be like a super fluent speaker of Spanish using Duolingo? Maybe not. Like you'll at least be able to understand like what you're reading. You'll be able to write stuff. You'll learn some vocabulary or whatever. But here's the hang up. The best way to actually learn to fluently speak a language is to freaking speak all the time to someone who knows the language. So
that's what I hear. Yeah.
Yeah. If you're not like, if you're learning Spanish, if you don't throw yourself into Spain or Mexico or something like that and just learn it that way, or if you're not sitting down with a professor or a tutor or something and like being forced to talk a lot, you're just not going to be a fluent speaker. Duolingo is not going to give you that level of fluency. But I think if you know a little bit already, it's great practice. And if you don't know anything at all, it gets you started.
Right.
So,
I'm actually pretty unimpressed with how Google Translate can work from time to time, at least with the Spanish-speaking people that I've spoken with where that was required, right?
Yeah.
Because I get the gist of like, and I mean, I get it. I understand that there's different ways of saying things, but when I used to work in customer service, I lived in an area that had a lot of folks who spoke Spanish as their primary language. They'd come in, and I remember my first thing, mainly because I hated that job, but my first thing was to say, hey, the next store down like has somebody who speaks Spanish. Like they've been there a long time. It's only about 5 minutes away. You can have a lot better experience there. And they really would have a better experience. And usually it's like, I'm here, right? And it's like, oh, God, here we go. So I got to pull out Google Translate. And they know what it is because they've had to use it before. And but then so I'll ask the question, and then, we'll exchange whatever. But every time I get something back and then it reads it off to me, it's like barely legible. Like I can barely understand it, and maybe it's the same for them with me.
It doesn't help that you are needing very specific information, generalized information, like just general Spanish. Google Translate's pretty decent at that. It won't get everything 100% right, but you can figure it out. The more specific a niche you're trying to deal with, like you're specifically trying to find out, like, again, very just niche information, it gets trickier because the way that language, what might handle, that scenario can be maybe a little different than what you're expecting.
Right. Sorry, I froze there because my lights just flickered.
Uh-oh.
I might lose power again, so if I do...
Then I'll just carry on the episode by myself.
just carry on without me.
Carry on. The show must go on.
Speaking of learning languages, that's always something that we did, that's a course you can take in school. Well, this episode topic is something that I'd like to talk about, something that takes place right when you leave school for a particular season. We're in that season right now as we record this.
Okay.
So I thought it'd be fun to talk.
So it's currently winter break.
That's right. No, I thought we could talk about our childhood, like, summer breaks. It's summertime right now. Just a few weeks ago, Weston and I were together in person, hanging out, and it was I was about to say you were not there for 4th of July, but we were together during the summer, having a nice time. But summertime, the weather's nice, but I really thought specifically what I'd like to talk about is just our memories, like the excitement you'd feel going on summer break as a kid. There was really nothing like it, like that feeling.
It's I miss that level of when you're in school, right? You're working hard all year to, like, do your homework and get good grades and blah blah blah, or maybe you're not working hard, but you have work to do and it's a thing you have to go to every day, blah blah blah. And then as the year is, like, winding to a close and the workload just kind of gets less and less. I mean, there's like tests at the end of the year or whatever, but there's a sort of general vibe that, like, we're almost out. Our time is almost here. And then you get out and you're released into the summer and you're like, especially if you do things over the summer, it's like, I've got baseball that I'm playing, or we're going on a camping trip, or my family's got some kind of trip. I got no responsibilities. I owe nothing to anybody.
Yep.
I wasn't a big outdoorsy person, so I wasn't like, I'm going to be outside every day. There were plenty of days, even during the summer, where I'm like, I'm going to go hide in the basement and play video games.
Oh, yeah. And that's really kind of what I wanted to go over. It doesn't have to be about the season necessarily, just the time and the feeling. Because I remember, for me, it was a similar thing. I naturally played outside quite a bit because that's just what we did when we were kids, but there were many more mornings where I was just excited to wake up day after day and just play video games and watch TV. And every day felt like a Saturday.
Yeah.
Like, it was awesome.
Yeah. I was about to say, I don't know about that. You were like every morning. And for me, I'm like, morning's a bit of a stretch. I was wake up at noon, stay up till 3.
Oh, I see. so I guess some things never change. I was like excited, and I don't think I get up. I mean, I didn't get up as early as I do now, but, like, even then, I was probably getting up around, like, maybe 8 o'clock, which is early for a kid. But I was excited for cartoons.
Oh, okay. No, that's a good point. I didn't really do the morning cartoons thing. Okay.
I just remember, like, always being excited. I know a big part of it, too, for me was there was a couple summers where my cousins, I brought them up before. I looked up to them a lot during this era. I'm thinking in my head, this is like 10 years old, 11 years old, around that time. And they were staying across the street at my grandma's house. My grandma literally lived across the street, like directly across the street. So
that's helpful.
I'd always be really excited about that. It's like Christmas, right? You always going to wake up early on Christmas because you want the stuff. You want those things. And so, but for me, it felt like that every day. I just loved it so much. I also really didn't like school. So, the opposite of being in a school was really nice too. I don't know. It was fun, man. The bike riding. Did you do a lot of bike riding? Anything like that?
Yeah, there was definitely a time where I did a lot of bike riding. That slowly kind of dwindled down at some point. I did a lot of bike riding in my home village that I grew up in. There wasn't a lot to do out and about. Like,
That's
I
fair.
definitely didn't have friends to go see. I lived away from everybody. So it was like, I'm going to ride around or whatever. Usually not too much, but maybe out to the bridge, spit in the creek, ride back.
Right.
That kind of thing. Nothing crazy.
Well, I did forget, too, that even though we lived close to each other, I still lived in a town that was like 5 times the size of your village.
I grew up in a village of 100 people max.
So, but that being said, like the town that, that I'm talking about, my hometown, it's like, it's very small, but there's just enough, it's just big enough for you to take your bike around and really kind of go on an adventure. And I know for me, that was a huge thing. The parks, and I used to love cemeteries. It's like I'd always like ride my bike to the cemetery in the summer and just look at all the like tombstones.
That's super weird.
I know it's weird. I don't know if I've ever told you that. I actually love cemeteries. I still like to drive
told
through
me
them.
that.
Maybe because I thought you'd react that way.
Like, I didn't know you were a freaking creepy weirdo that looks at cemeteries. No, I just didn't know that.
Yeah, I like to try and find. I like to find like the oldest one, and and just I don't know. I tell these little stories in my head about these families that used to be on this earth. I don't know. It's just a weird thing I like to do. But anyway, I would do that a lot too. You mentioned friends. I did want to ask you this. So for me, every summer, and maybe it's different because I was in a slightly bigger town, but for me, it felt like every summer I was like running around with a different friend. Or friends. Now, when you're that age, friends kind of come and go like nothing. I mean, that's just kind of how it is. But I didn't know if that was ever a thing for you. But I keep forgetting that you were in that village, so there's probably limited friends to begin with, right?
See, like my I keep calling it my village. We were pretty much split north end of town, south end of town, and we didn't associate with them southern town. Kids. There were a few kids in town. Not all of us were very close in age. There were a few of us, but we didn't really like. We weren't the same crowd. I had one friend in town, and we went to the same babysitter for quote unquote babysitter for a little while or whatever.
Weston,
so I had like one friend. What? I hear you.
Can you hear me?
I hear you.
Okay. It's happening.
It's happening. The power.
So, I think I just had a brownout.
Oh.
So the monitors just reset, but I thought the computer did, but I could still hear you talking. God.
I still hear you.
I guess we can keep going. I'm looking at my phone. I'm so sorry. 2 hours ago, I looked at the weather, and there was just clear skies for the rest of the night. And now it's severe thunderstorm warnings for an hour.
Oh.
I
mean,
it's okay. We can
keep going until something happens.
I'm going to leave all this in, too, because I don't care. This is
fine.
part of the Profoundish experience.
Yeah, this is part of the Profoundish experience. Sometimes you're talking about summer, and then a storm rolls in and just tears your electricity out,
Hey, summer storms.
Summer storms.
That's another thing.
You don't think about it very much. Like, for me, when I think, like, storms that knock out your power, for me, it's always, like, I don't know, in the winter or something like that. Like, it's colder or something. I don't know. I don't ever think about them happening in the summer. They do happen in the summer, but for some reason, when I think, like, power outage, I think, like, fall or winter for some reason.
Yeah, well, I mean, historically, like, in my life, that's true, too. Just, I currently live in an area, like, this whole city. I mean, I've said it before. Memphis is a very poor town, and their, like, power grids and infrastructure is, like, 40 years old. And they haven't replaced it, and
That's
so
not that old.
Well, it's older than, I don't know how old it is. I'm just saying it is, whatever's considered old is what it is.
400 years old. It's older than America.
So we lose power older than America. We lose power over everything. I lose power probably 10 to 12 times a year, which is exactly. When I lived in Illinois, I lost it once a year when there was like an ice storm. Maybe twice, every once in a while. So that's sucky, and it's hard to get used to, because like every time it storms now, I'm like, it's just a thunderstorm, damn it. But
what's going on? What's the deal?
So, the problem here too is that they don't have a lot of crews out there to really kind of take care of issues when like trees fall over like power lines and stuff, and I don't know. There's just a lot of issues. But anyway, sorry everybody.
Don't apologize. This is the podcast. They're not expecting anything more.
It's funny. They're listening, going, I don't care. Like that's not storming where I'm at. It's fine.
It's fine.
So anyway, I thought about this too. I just keep thinking of these random summer ideas. The pool. Now I know that. Did you have like a pool in your backyard or anything like that? Did you ever do like a?
Yeah, we had a blow up pool that we could like set up for the summer or whatever, and tear it down for the, when it got cold again or whatever.
Like one of those big circular blue ones.
Yeah. They're like, I don't know, like 4 or 5 foot. I don't remember how deep they are, like 4 feet or whatever they are.
Right. We didn't have one in our backyard, but I did live really close to it. And for a few summers, I took swimming lessons when I was very young, and that kind of made me fall in love with the pool. And actually, we were just talking about this when we were all together a few weeks ago. Our mutual friend Justin and I, we'd like ride our bikes to the pool together, and we would spend hours and hours and hours at the pool multiple days in the summer. It was just so much fun. I remember there was this one time where it was the first time I got burnt really bad. Like I was at that age where mom was like, put on sunscreen. I said, yeah, whatever, mom, and it was when she stopped putting it on me, but she said, here it is, put it on. And I wasn't responsible and I didn't do it. And I came home in agony because I had literal 2nd-degree burns on my shoulders. Just from being outside and not taking care of my skin at all. And, when you're a redhead, you're just...
Yeah.
In most cases, you're just more prone to it.
I 100% understand. I've definitely been burned to a crisp many times in my life.
Have you ever had it so bad where, like, it's hard to even just lay down?
Oh, yeah. God, yes.
God, it's like you just can't even get comfortable and sleep. I remember I had a bed in the corner, and I had to, like, halfway sit and halfway lay. So I'm, like, kind of like at, like, I don't know, I'd be an obtuse angle of some amount of degrees. And I was like leaning up against the corner, like because my bed was in the corner. And it was just the most uncomfortable way to sleep. Because if I lay down, it hurt.
Or even like when it's so bad, right? Like just existing hurts. Like just have a shirt on, just have clothes on. You're like, I hurt
Yep.
constantly. My life, my existence is pain.
I wish I could say that I learned my lesson that day, but I actually didn't learn it until I was about 26 or something. And that was because so this was actually at the beginning of the pandemic, or not the beginning, but it wasn't that long after it really kind of like everyone kind of hunkered down. This was probably summer, so I guess it's in theme, summer of 2020, and me, Dave, and Gella, shout out to Camp Nostalgic, go check it out. Our new show, Saturday morning, our new season of it, is out now, so check it out. New episodes. First Saturday of every month. All right, there's my plug. Anyway, we were like getting really like this. Dave was like, hey, listen, we got time right now. I don't know if you do. And I did too. I was off of work for a while. And he was like, why don't we just take a chance and just go on a road trip? And we're going to go down. Let's just go down to like Orlando, like Cocoa Beach. I bet you nobody's going to be there. And we knew it was going to be a risk, and for many reasons. And I debated on whether or not I even wanted to go. Just for at that point, it was still for like the health risks. I just wasn't sure.
Especially summer 2020. At that point, everyone was aware what was going on.
Yeah. So like, and we were too, and that's why I was like debating. And I said, you know what? What the hell? I'm going to take a chance and do it. We drove from Tennessee, the very west side of Tennessee, to Florida in a day into southern Florida, wherever Orlando is. And it was like a 12, 13-hour drive. And no, actually, I lied to you. It was about 10.
Whatever.
But anyway, it was still a long drive, and we got there, and we stayed at a hotel, and then driving through Orlando was a ghost town. It was really weird, and it really solidified what was going on to me at that point. It's like, this is a big city that is dead, right? And then we did end up going to Cocoa Beach, and there was like 2 other families there, and that was it. So we had this whole, and it was still open. Like, it was still open to the public. There were signage
mostly
that
because
said
they
so.
probably didn't want to have anyone there to enforce kicking people out. You know what I mean? Because they weren't working.
Right. But anyway, we went there, and it was a really great time because we had the whole, like, basically the whole beach to ourselves. However, Dave tells this story funnier than I do. He just tells it so well, but we were so excited just to be outside again after like 2.5 months of being inside and going out to the beach that we forgot to put on sunscreen that we brought and said we were going to put on.
Oh, no.
And we're in Florida, so guess what we're closer to? The equator. We run out into the water. It's maybe 3 hours. We come back out, and it was the same thing. We were red everywhere. Like, it was bad. It was like you talked about how like it was hard to just take off your shirt and even put it on. Ugh. But lesson learned after that, because days after that I come back home and Steph is peeling the skin off my back in the shower for me because it's so bad. Like,
did you ask her to do that, or did she volunteer? She's like, "Can I peel your skin?"
No, she's not one of those people that like is like she finds it satisfying to peel skin or whatever.
Right.
I didn't ask her, but she was like, "Listen, Alex, you're gonna need help with this. Just get in the shower." So I'm like, okay, that's love, man.
That's
so,
not trying to kink shame, but that's a strange one.
Well, listen, we all know my kink, and you know it, and you got 2 of them on your face right now.
Oh, ears, got it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We're back.
Oh, yeah.
So I know you don't call it a kink, and for me, honestly, that's not a kink either. But
no.
You do talk about the collarbone. I won't ever forget that.
This is not the direction of this topic I was supposed to go. I was going to be like,
talked about that on your podcast.
No. I mean, like... I think I did talk about it on my. I think I actually talked about it on my Patreon.
Sorry.
I think, but I don't remember if it's public or not, because I had one of my podcast episodes that was not a collaboration, coordination. It's a C word. What am I looking for?
Collaboration, coordination.
Whatever. A few of those put together. Anyway, point is, everybody's got like a favorite like body part or whatever. That's like the sexy body part. Maybe people like strong shoulders, right? Or maybe someone likes a toned abs or whatever. Everyone's got something. Don't judge me for my neck thing.
Hey, there's no judgment. I was just bringing it up. We talked about ears. We had to talk about. It's so funny because I think honestly, for me, like one I'm like attracted to, because I'm not really attracted to ears, but I am attracted to, and this is probably very common, but like just the overall like figure. I like defined hips a lot. Like, just I'm sure that's pretty common, but
I like, that's what you guys make fun of me for. The first time I ever mentioned it was like a well-defined collarbone.
A well-defined collarbone. And it was how you said it too, because you said it very Weston, and it was just hilarious to us.
This was like, I don't know. This was at a guy's night over at, I think, Justin's or something. So this was like, I don't know. How old am I again? This was like 10, 13 years ago or something like that. It's just the way I probably said it.
Well-defined. Yeah, because we're all saying, because I'm sure other guys that are around the table were saying boobs, butts, whatever.
Right. Well, that's the classic one. Man, this is still definitely about beaches, but that's usually the go-to, right? Like people will say, "Are you a boob guy or are you a butt guy?" And then you have the people that are like, "I'm a face guy." It's okay. You're not impressing me. Shut up. What are you into?
Yeah, exactly. Stop lying to yourself and tell me what you're into.
See, I'm not asking you to be chivalrous right now.
Right.
Which, like, if you're gonna say face, right, then be more specific. Like, you said ears. If you're like, oh, I'm into eyes, or I'm like really into noses, like cute noses or something. Like get more specific here. Otherwise, like, what are we doing? I don't.
Exactly. I don't know why we're on this, but here we are. I also think about like with like the female face. I like the contrast of blonde hair and dark eyebrows.
You know, that's so funny because that has become increasingly popular is like really dark or bold like eyebrows, whereas like 20 years ago it was like destroy your eyebrows, then her eyebrows were the in thing.
That is true. But yeah, it's just for some reason for me it has to be the blonde hair and the big dark eyebrows. I don't know if it's just because it almost seems quote unquote unnatural, and maybe that's just there's a weird attraction to that. Like it's less common to see. I don't know, but no. That being said, I've never been with or dated anybody who is blonde to begin with, really, or had dark eyebrows like that. But that's always been like kind of appealing to me. Like, oh, I like how that looks. That's just an interesting contrast.
Just have Stephanie like dye her hair one color and her eyebrows a different. Just be like, this is for me. Yeah. You got to do this for me.
Just do it for me. Yeah, we'll do it for like an anniversary. Like just anything you want goes. Okay, dye your hair. Just all these like semi like for a while permanent things.
But then she'll have to have you'll have to dye your hair a color of her choice.
Oh, if it would be like brunette, like because you know her crush. I don't think it is anymore, but for a long time her celebrity crush was Adam Levine, the guy from Maroon 5.
Yeah.
And he's got dark hair. He's skinny. He's got all these tattoos. I'm thinking, all right, I'm gonna have to like buzz my hair, make it brown, and just get a crap ton of tattoos on my arm.
You're like, I don't look anything like this guy. What happened?
Yeah, what's that mean? Because like my number one, and I think you know this. My number one celebrity crush is Zooey Deschanel.
I've heard it a few times on your podcast, the Two Piece podcast.
Yeah, listen to that. We have a Celebrity Crushes episode. Yeah, and she's clearly on that one. But like, she's not super far off from Steph. Like, they're both like kind of quirky brunette girls, and her guy is totally different than me. It's scary.
It just goes to show that like personality goes a long way.
Oh, Weston, you always know what to say. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for talking about a little bit of summer break, a little bit of what we're attracted to, and what did we start with? What did we start with?
I don't know.
Speaking Spanish, like learning
Spanish. We talked about Spanish, we talked about summer, and we talked about, I don't know, body parts or whatever.
Well, we're going to drop the Spanish and the body parts, and we're going to stick with summer, and we're going to be doing super simple, laid back. We're going to be doing a tier list of some of our favorite summer activities.
Okay.
So we're going to be ranking those, but we're going to take a quick break. Anything you want to say before the break, Weston?
Shenaniganery.
Profoundish is brought to you in part by Alex Duquette Medleys. I make theme song medleys, which is where I take a bunch of theme songs and mash them up into one bite-sized song. From Nickelodeon to Adult Swim, I cover it all. So, if you want to take a fun, nostalgic trip, search my name, Alex Duquette, on YouTube, or go to alexduquette.net.
Profoundish is brought to you in part by Magic Man Mo, a gaming YouTube channel run by me. We stream and we do variety Let's Plays. Check out a short stream compilation to see if it's something that you're going to be into. It's a lot of fun. I made it, so I know. That's Magic Man Mo on YouTube.
Hey, we're back! Weston, what did you and I do when we were on the break? What were we doing?
I was mostly just drinking. Just downing shots, just getting really getting crazy over here. No, not at all.
Turn down for what?
I don't even turn down for what. I don't remember how it goes.
I don't know, but we all know it. That one, for some reason, they're not. I guess they're kind of similar in some ways, but like I always get turned down for what, and I always associate that with shots.
Shot.
Because they're both just get crazy and party songs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think those are very in theme with like party, like summer nights, getting crazy, partying it up around a campfire. I think those are summer songs. I don't know when they came out, but those are summer songs, sure.
Listen, I want to commend you for the great like theming there. That was good. All right. So let's get going on this tier list. Super simple. We know how tier lists work. We've done a handful on the show before. We got some summer activities, and we're just going to rank them from S being the best, and D being the least favorite thing to do. And we'll kind of average it out between the two of us.
S for summer.
And A and D for derpy summer. I don't know. I'm not doing the. Listen, my improv skills. I need to kind of hone them up again because it's been a while since a jam and chat. I'm losing it.
Oh no!
I did want to say this. We only have a few activities here. We only have 8. So if it goes kind of quick, I have a second time we're going to do them really quick with just a fun little twist.
Okay.
So, but if we go through it in the appropriate amount of time, then that's fine too. So here's what we have that we're going to be ranking. These are just popular summer activities. The first one is that looks like swimming in the lake, kind of just hanging out with your friends in the lake. The next one is we got camping. Then we have jogging. After that, we have going to the beach and putting on sunscreen, being good
or
boys
not.
and doing that.
Sunscreen
Or
not required, but suggested.
Right. After that, we have summer bonfires. Then we have cooking out / grilling, whatever you call it. Then we have fishing and hiking. So those are the things that we're going to be just kind of ranking on, just kind of our just personal favorite summer activities to do, or things that we just enjoy, even if we don't do it that often. Maybe we enjoy it when we do it. So, Weston, why don't you take it away with swimming in the lake, going out to the lake? What say you on that? Where would you rank that?
I would say that I'm not a real big go to the lake person. I've been to I almost want to say just a couple. Maybe it's been more than a couple, and I'm just not remembering which lakes. Because I've been to a couple of lakes, or I've spent a couple times in streams or whatever. But I'm not a big let's go to the around here, around this area. A lot of people go to Clinton Lake to do fishing or what. I don't know if they have a beach. I don't think I've ever been to Clinton Lake, which is a really popular location around here. I don't think I have, or if I have, I don't even remember it. So I'm not a big lake guy myself. But the couple of times I have been to a lake to do stuff, it's fun. It's different because I've been to the beach a few times at the an ocean beach, not a lake beach, and I much prefer the ocean beach because especially on the East Coast, if you're in Florida, not maybe New England. I'm diverging here, but I like it when it's warmer. If you're on a beach and it's warm, or the water is warmer. So the lakes I've been to are typically cold. There was a lake in Washington. I was out with family, and we were on a lake with my cousin and some of his friends and my brother or whatever, and we had a good time there on the lake house. But where would I put it on a tier list for favorite things to do? I'm not a big lake guy, but I had a lot of fun. B, kind of middle of the pack. In terms of fun?
Yeah, I'm kind of I'm probably one step above you when it comes to how frequently I've been to lakes. We went there quite a bit growing up, and we went tubing and, and there's just kind of boating in general, which is always fun. I always have a good time, but I think between going out in the lake or going to the beach, it'd be similar. I'd probably rather pick the beach. But yeah, I'm totally fine with B. That's definitely not a bad ranking, I'd say,
because
it's fun.
You mentioned tubing and boating, and that's an excellent point, because if you don't have access to a boat and you're on the lake, I feel like the lake experience is significantly worse.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I've never done the lake that's not true, but I've usually not done the lake experience unless there's been a boat involved. I just feel like that's almost necessary. But I do see the people in the picture here that were kind of going from swimming around, and we would do that a lot too, though. We just swim around. You can feel the fish swimming around your legs. It's kind of fun.
It is a different experience swimming out in a lake than it is an ocean beach. It's just different. Like you said, fish or whatever, you're going to have different water life to contend with. And then other than that, beaches have so much more, which we'll get to beaches in a little bit, but they have so much more of an atmosphere or an environment built around the beach itself, whereas a lake, because you have a lot of people going on the boats, or maybe you got people fishing. I don't know. The lake is a good place for a lot of those things, but if you're missing any of it, you don't have fishing, or if you don't have a boat, the lake is just a lake. I don't know.
The lake
but it's not bad.
You heard it here, folks. Weston Hasty, 2023. The lake is just a lake.
The lake is just a lake, man.
So, camping.
Yeah.
I will say this. With camping, it's kind of similar. I don't do it that often, but when I do, I really enjoy it. More than the lake. I don't know where you stand on that. You and I have been camping before.
We have. And I think camping, in my mind, is going to encompass a lot of what we're dealing with here. If you've got a lake you can go to at the campground or wherever you're at, then you have all the lake stuff. Typically, if you're camping, you're probably grilling out. You're probably at bonfires. You're probably hiking. You're probably fishing. Like all those things that we're about to talk about and rank can all be encompassed in camping. And I grew up with my family. We went on camping trips every summer. Like just every summer. Like I've been on many camping trips, and now that I'm an adult and I would have to organize my own vacations and stuff, I don't camp nearly as much, like at all. And I miss it. I miss going out in nature and disconnecting from the rest of everything and just kind of like being at peace with nature yourself, kind of like just grilling out. I don't know. There's something to being out there. Something to it. It's like primal. It gets to the animal inside.
Yeah, I mean,
Alex, there are two wolves inside us all.
Excuse me? This is the family show. All right.
I put camping at S.
S? I'm okay with it because I've always had great experiences doing camping. You know, that's what they call it, right? Doing camping?
Doing camping.
Let's go do a camp.
If you're doing a camp, you can do a camp by yourself and really soul search. You can do a camp with family and just do all kinds of fun, kick back, play bags, darts, whatever you want to do. You can do a camp with friends and do friend stuff.
Well, you know what? You got me thinking. That would be really interesting just to do, even just maybe like 2 nights, just go out on my own.
Yeah.
And do something like that. Talk about a really good way to connect with nature and yourself. I don't know. That's interesting. That might be fun to do.
The one downside to like doing a camp by yourself is that you have to set everything up yourself. But like, it's just you. So if you're not packing heavy, you throw up a tent and you've got your cooler and stuff, and just take a weekend camping.
Just go for it. You know, I romanticize this idea. I don't think I think the actual execution wouldn't be as flattering, but I still want to, you know what I mean? But it's hashtag van life. You know, you see these people with they buy these old, like the big vans, right? Not the minivans, but the big ones, and they deck them out and they kind of just like go around. It's like mini RVing, but it's just in a van. And usually it's like either just a couple or just one person. And just going out there, go out to these campsites, and you got your little van there, and you got a bunch of portable stuff. Like, that sounds like just doing that for like a few weeks at a time, just going around. I think it'd be fun, but I don't know how old it would get.
I definitely wouldn't want to do that as like my residence. Like, I wouldn't want to
your main way of living
that way. Some people do that, like they just travel, and that's like how they live. That sounds awful to me. That sounds awful to me. But basically, as a cheaper RV experience, or not necessarily cheaper, depends on the van, depends on the RV or whatever. But if you just want to have a van that you take on trips, I mean, yeah,
like,
that's,
because like, and I see it too, it would be a really good like couple thing. Like, you go out there because you can because you have your bed in the back, like you don't have to stay out in a tent. You're in the van, but you can still do all of the camping things. And yeah.
I mean, so like having an RV, but it's a van.
It's an RV, but it's a van. Another quote from Weston. It's like an RV, but it's a van. All right. We got jogging. No, you can do this any time of the year, but obviously summer is one of the times where I think the most people are going to be out just because the weather's, it's nice, it's warm. So jogging. Now, you've got quite the experience with running. You used to run quite a bit.
Yeah. So summer is probably one of my least favorite times to jog because it's so hot. But I used to do a lot of my summer jogging at night. So then it's really good because it's cooled off, but the night's not cold. And then it's really nice.
Right.
But like,
see, that's fair.
In the evening with the summer sun coming down, that's just a lot.
It's well, sure. Yeah. I always jog like first thing in the morning. So usually it's before the heat gets unbearable.
Right.
But that's a good point. The heat does play a role, but I guess for either of us, it really kind of doesn't. So I've always enjoyed the running. I have a love-hate relationship with it, and I'm on and off again relationship with it. But every time I do, I always just love. I'm fortunate to live near a bunch of trails, so like I have a bunch of trails I can just kind of walk or run through, and that's just it's like your miniature way of kind of connecting a little bit with with all the trees and the earth in a smaller way. So I appreciate it for that. Ranking.
See, this is the thing. Like, there's nothing wrong with jogging. I actually encourage people to get out, and if you can't run, jog. If you can't jog, walk. Whatever your physical abilities are, getting out, doing that thing. Here's the thing, though. Like, I don't see jogging as a summer activity. So on a tier list of summer activities, jogging is like a D for me, because you're either about that jogging life or you're not. You know what I mean?
Okay. Will you settle on a C?
I'll settle on a C.
Okay.
The reason I was going so low was just the whole, like, in my mind, anyone out there listening to this, correct me if I'm wrong on the socials or wherever, there's no one that I know that is like, yes, summer is coming, I can't wait to jog.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's not
now,
like
you can go jogging, but that's not what you're looking forward to, right?
Right. I mean, I get what you're saying. I definitely don't think it's like, okay, it's summer. It's the definitive time to run.
Right.
I kept this in here because if you can peek up here, there's a lot I got rid of.
Yeah, I see those.
But, it's one of those things where I thought, odds are the most people are probably going to be out now. That's why I kept it in here, just because I think if the weather is. But I get your point too, though, because honestly, I enjoy running more when it's not summer, when it's like spring.
Right. And I do see, because you're not wrong. When I was jogging out there's a trail that I live a little further away from, so I don't go out that way very much. When I was jogging at that trail more throughout the year, when it's cold out, when it's like winter, like no one's using the trail. Like I'm the one psycho, or maybe there's two psychos out there using it, like running in the middle of snow or whatever. But then as it gets warmer, as it makes sense, more and more people come out, and I think you see the most people out in the summer. So you're not wrong. Right. But I think that's kind of, I just think it's not an activity people look forward to so much as an activity that, like, oh, it's nice out, I got to get into shape. I got to get my beach bod on, so I'm going to go running or whatever.
I agree with that. I totally do. Because, like, you're still exercising. Like, some people really crave that exercising, but at the end of the day, I mean, come on. You could camp or this next one, you could go to the beach. Right. So the beach, love the beach.
Love the beach.
It's something that Steph and I both love to do. And let me tell you, have you ever been to like a private beach, like a sectioned off like place where there's not that many people?
I'm not sure. I think all my beaches have been public.
Okay. So I will say this. I love the beach, period. But I had my first experience at a private beach 2 years ago. Steph and I and a bunch of friends pitched in, and so we could actually afford it because it's not cheap. But we got this like big lake house and a private beach. Actually, the whole beach is private. It's a private beach in South Carolina, and it was incredible. And it's night and day just because you have all this space. It's quiet. It's amazing. It's a serene experience. But either way, the beach is. It's beautiful. I was just curious if you ever had done that before. But I love it. I'm curious where you think you'd want to place it on the list here.
For me, the beach is higher than the lake. So for me, it's like an A. I'm not like... The only reason I don't do S is you hit the nail on the head before. Like the risk of being sunburned is guaranteed for me. It doesn't matter how much sunscreen I put on. I will have some kind of sunburn. If I put nothing on, it will be god awful. If I put sunscreen on, at least it'll be manageable. But I'm getting the goddamn sunburn, and it's awful. But I still like the beach. I like the hot sand, the clear water. You step on a jellyfish and you hate your life. And then I also like the pier stuff though. Like if there's activities like up on the pier or like food
good point.
Or like, like there's stuff around the beach that you usually get that I don't normally see like at the lake or not in the same way. There's a lot of like activities that come with the beach as well. You can go get like a caricature made or something. Some guy will be trying to sell you beads. It's great.
Special beads.
I will say I have been to a beach before where it was so hot out that the sand was so hot that I spent as little time actually on the sand part as possible because it was just frying my feet. Like, I don't know how people were doing it. Maybe I've just got baby feet now. I don't know. I can walk over rocks, but the sand was just so hot. Whereas, like, we're going to go get some ice cream over here, like on the pier or whatever. We're going to avoid the sand.
Yeah, it does get really hot. When we went to that beach in South Carolina, yeah, it was rough. I spent, as you can imagine, we just kind of hinted at it, I spent probably about 75% of my time I like in like the tent that we brought out there. Just because, and I just laying there because I couldn't get out in the water too often. I'd put on sunscreen every hour, but yeah, and then it would be painful just to walk to the water. But it's so pretty and so quiet. And I didn't even think about the pier stuff. That can be a lot of fun. So you've been up to I'm assuming you've been up to Navy Pier.
Yeah.
That's always fun.
It's been a hot minute. I'm not sure how long. I was probably a kid. Navy Pier has been a long time.
Now, this might be, if we have any listeners in this part of California, I apologize if I'm hurting your feelings here, but I was out in Santa Monica Pier, and I had kind of high expectations because it's such a beautiful area, and it was kind of poopy. Like, it was, it really was. This was last summer. This is summer of 2021, and I went there for a work trip, and we thought, we didn't, because none of us had been to California before in general. And we thought, let's drive out, kind of see some of the mountains and stuff, and then we'll go out to Santa Monica Pier. And it was like a cool, like a warm/cool evening. It was like the sun was going down, and it was just kind of poopy. Like like there was a couple like food stands, and there was a couple shops because it's kind of a touristy spot, but everything was just really run down and gross. Like the water wasn't really nice, and I mean, I get it. There's a lot of people and a lot of junk, but
if it was 2021, maybe that's because there was still no staff working because it was still COVID.
Oh, no. At that point, everybody was doing their thing there.
No, not in California. They were hard about that stuff.
No, I know they were, but I'm just saying, like, there was hundreds of people everywhere.
Oh, no, I believe that. I just mean, like, probably the upkeep people, like, where they were probably, like, limited staff. I'm just spitballing. I just know that a lot of the stuff I hear about people that are from California complaining about California, so I don't have a... When you say Santa Monica was kind of poopy, I believe it, because it sounds like it's a complete crap show just across the state all the time. But it
seems like that, yeah.
I haven't been to California since 2006 or whatever. It's been a long time.
Oh, when'd you go?
How
what were you doing?
Was I? Actually, I would have been like, I was there. Because I've been to Disneyland and other places around the area.
Okay.
So I think that was like 2001, I think was the first time I was in California. And there might have been another time, but like eons ago, 2 decades ago.
Man, time. We're old, man.
Oh, so old. I count my age in decades.
I think you're old enough now. I say you, but like I'm not too far behind you at all. But to say, are we old enough now to say back in the day? Are we not that old yet?
I do all the literal time at work. Like, we have a whole thing where I'm just an old man. And I've got one employee that's older than me, and I tell her one day you'll be as old as I am.
I do that with a coworker, too. Like, when I turned 29, because this coworker of mine, he's like in his, I think, early to mid-50s. And I was like, 1 foot in the grave, I'm 29. And then he was kind of being a little dry with me and making some joke about it. He's like, yeah, it's pretty old. And I said, listen, buddy, you have no idea what it's like to be 29, okay? and he thought that was hilarious. So no, it's like an ongoing thing. You don't know. Just wait till you know what it's like.
One day you'll get there. One day you'll know what you want to be when you grow up.
That's right. I have an interesting thing to say about the bonfires, because it's actually a point that you brought up. Bonfires, I definitely more associate with the fall. In general. Not that you can't do them in the summer. Once again, tied with camping and stuff, but it has to be a good night for it in the summer. It can't be too hot, because sometimes it's hot at night, and I hate that.
Right. Like, I know plenty of people, like friends, classmates or whatever, would have bonfires over the summer, but that never, like, obviously, like, if I'm invited, I'm going or whatever. Like, I don't turn down a bonfire, but, like, a bonfire doesn't appeal to me in the summer. It's hot. Like, for me, that's like a fall thing. The exception being like not necessarily a bonfire, but the exception being like if you're camping, which that's why it's like S tier. If you're camping, you gotta have a fire every night, and you sit around the fire for hours at night, just like roasting marshmallows or talking with whoever you're with or whatever. For me, the ideal fire situation during the summer is a campfire. But like the get together to have a bonfire thing, that's like you want it to start getting a little cooler, not cold, but a little cooler.
I agree with that. We thinking it's I wouldn't put it in D, but I'm thinking CB.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't say D, because I would definitely put it above jogging. So it's either top of C or I'd put it in B, because I do think there are plenty of people that have the bonfire experience in the summer that plenty of people are looking forward to. Spring is over. It's not as wet out. Bonfire. Yeah. So I do think people can look forward to a bonfire. So I would put that CB, something like that.
Yeah, I think I'm going to, if you're okay, I think I'm going to go bottom of B, because I just don't know if I'm comfortable having it that close to jogging. It's like
bottom B. Yeah, that sounds fine.
Because like a bonfire's, most times it's obviously social. There's just a lot more going on compared to jogging. And it's like, what's worse, bonfire or jogging? It's like, I think most people probably say the jogging.
The jogging would be absolutely a nightmare for, like, if you don't like exercise, jogging is just stupid.
Right.
Like, yeah, I want to sit around a bonfire, talking to my friends, drinking a beer or whatever.
Smoking a beer.
Smoking. I almost said smoke. I don't know why I said smoke. I think it's just still thinking of fire smoke. But like, yeah, smoking a beer and smoking a brisket on the grill. No, we're not grilling yet. We're almost there.
Well, we are now.
Oh, hey, look at that! Speak of the devil.
Grilling out. That's definitely. I do associate that with summer quite a bit. Cookouts.
It's definitely a summer. Yeah,
like a Sunday afternoon. You're grilling out. I love. What's your favorite food to eat off the grill? Like if you're grilling out, like between like burgers and brats, between those two.
Between those two, that's kind of tough, because I was definitely not into brats. I liked hot dogs, but I did not like brats at all for a long time. I think a lot of kids don't like brats. They're a little tougher. They might have stuff in them that you don't care for, like cheese or whatever. But I definitely appreciate a brat now. But I'm also the guy that, like, if you're having a cookout, I want a burger and a brat, or a burger and a hot dog, right?
Right, best of both worlds. Yep. So
if I had to pick one or the other, if there are toppings, like I can fix up my burger, like you got the lettuce, tomato, relish, whatever you got. If there are fixings, I want a burger. If not, I'll go with the brat. That's my asterisk. So I'm going to say burger only if there's fixings, but if not, I go to the brat. Yeah,
that's fair. I'm like 60 brat, 40 burger. I'll usually do both as well, but I'm like if I'm gonna if I had to pick though, I'm gonna go for a couple brats. Those are they're yummy. But it's the same thing for me when I was a kid. Ugh, give me that hot dog.
Yeah,
give me that nasty hot dog. I still love hot dogs. So I love grilling out. I love the idea of it. I grill out myself. It's fun. I love it when others feed me from grilling, and usually it's once again kind of social. So I tie it to that a lot too.
Oh, yeah.
So for me, this is a kind of a quintessential summer thing. I'm in the A to S area.
Oh, see, I wasn't shooting that high, but like,
I'm
not again. Well, and the only reason is because it's like, I don't know why I wasn't shooting that high. For me, I was kind of equating it on a similar level to bonfire in a lot of ways, because you can still definitely cook out in a lot of ways where it's that social, you get around. For me, like I guess imagine the grill is a fire. Everyone sits around it and you talk, drink a beer, and there may or may not be food. I mean, if it's a grill, it's definitely food involved. But around a bonfire, you might be doing marshmallows or something. So there's still like food involved. So for me, it was like a similar aspect. But
okay.
You know what I mean? That's like where I was coming from. But I'm okay with putting it above lake. So like, in the A territory, the question is the cookout experience a better experience than a beach experience?
Well, let me throw this at you before we answer that question. Because another thing that I tie with grilling out is, I mentioned the social stuff. A lot of my experiences with bonfires, like growing up especially, were, like we would play bags. There'd like be like the kids are running around. Like there's other things going on. We're just kind of hanging out in someone's backyard. Like I remember you had I think it was you. You had the hillbilly golf, is what we called it.
Ladder ball.
Ladder ball.
Same thing.
So
but yeah,
same thing. Like, you know, I tie it with those games too. Like, there's just family, friends, just kind of hanging out, and I put that above a bonfire for sure, just because it's more interactive. Everyone can kind of do their own thing. Kids and adults alike often are there. That sort of thing. So
I'm okay with top of A or bottom of S, since you're really putting it up there. I'm okay with that.
You know what? I think because I do it more often, I'm going to put it top of A, right above the beach.
I'm okay with that. I was like, if it goes all the way to S, I'm like, I can't be above camping, because you can definitely do the
you can do that during camping.
You can do the cookout thing at the camp.
Right. You can do the cookout thing at the camp. Okay, we got 2 more here. The next one is fishing. They're like out on the lake fishing, but I'm just going to say fishing, period. So you can be standing by a smaller pond fishing, whatever. What's your experience fishing, Weston? We haven't really talked about this before, I don't think.
Not a lot. I've definitely done it. Like I mentioned, we used to go camping as a family, like every summer or whatever. And I don't think we fished every time, but we would go fishing on those camping trips. And when we got together as friends, we did some fishing at that campground.
We did?
Yeah, we did.
I don't remember that at all. Interesting.
I don't remember I don't know if we split up as a group at any point in time, because you're supposed to have a fishing license to fish. So I don't remember if everyone had one or not. I don't remember who all did the fishing. I think I did. I think Logan did.
I had to have, because I remember getting my fishing license. I remember getting my fishing.
Do you remember? Yeah. It's not
I remember getting my license, but I didn't. I don't remember the fishing part.
Yeah. Well, unless you just, didn't want to, and you just did something else, and I don't remember if we were all there at the same time or if we split up for any reason. But yeah, we did some there at the friend trip as well. And so yeah, I've got some experience with fishing. I'm not super into fishing though. It's totally fine, and I got nothing against it. Like, I'm not like, ooh, fishing, gross, I don't want to. So for me, it's not like S, or I'm like not necessarily even A. I know a lot of people love fishing. I'm thinking, based on what we have here, I would put it somewhere in the B category. Okay. Because what we have in the B category right now is the lake, and we have bonfires. And for me, like the fishing, when I think fishing, I think you do it at a lake. That's what I think. So I would put the fishing somewhere around the lake experience. That's what I'm thinking.
I'm totally fine with that. The frequency at which I fish is similar to I do it more than probably going out to the lake, but not that often. Growing up, though, I actually did it a lot, and I loved it. Even like just me and my old buddy, Dalton, if you're listening to this, hello, Dalton, thanks for listening. Him and I would do that when we were young kids. We would like stay up till 3 a.m, and we'd go, okay, we're going to get up bright and early when the fish are biting more. We're going to leave the house at 5 a.m. and, and we're going to go to the bait shop, get some bait, and run over there. And obviously what happens, we wake up at 11. We get out there and hopefully see a fish, but good memories. But I love it. I actually recently just did it. Well, recently, it was over a year ago now. But Steph and I have been fishing. It's fun. If you're curious, she caught 2 fish. I caught 0. But it's the experience, and that's what I tell myself. But anyway, I really do like it. I would put it at the top of B. Okay. Like, I would rather fish than swim in the lake. I'd rather catch fish than swim in the lake, personally. So if you're okay with that.
I'm okay with that. Okay. I'm not sure which one I'd rather do necessarily. I think it also just depends on who you're with or whatever. Sure. Definitely, if I'm alone at a lake, I would rather fish than like swim around in it alone. So again, if you were like on that lonely like camping trip, we're talking about like you're just going out to find yourself, I'd rather fish than just be on a lake. But if you've got like friends or you got a boat, maybe it's more fun.
I could see Weston like being alone, soul searching, and he's just swimming in a lake, just floating, just by himself.
That's just alone.
But the fishing, I feel like that's not funny at all. That's just like, that doesn't look like just a lonely guy fishing. But just if you're floating alone in a lake, that does
like,
who's
look that lonely. Guy? Does he need help?
Yeah, exactly. Now, hiking. I love hiking. Steph and I both do.
This is a major thing that you kind of took up more. I mean, not super recent, but more recently
in recent years,
like being really big into hiking.
Yeah. I guess I'm going to put it in D.
You've tried to move the picture, and now it's stuck in D. I guess it's D. Everybody, we're going home. I definitely wouldn't put it below jogging.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm curious though, because you know how I feel about it. But where do you stand with like hiking? And it doesn't have to be like, because this has like a big mountain. But what do you think about just like trails and kind of just off the beaten path kind of exploring? Like, what's your take on that?
Yeah, just to like clarify, when I'm thinking hiking, I'm not necessarily thinking the hardcore hiking where you have a massive backpack and you're going to be actually out on a trail for days, like a big hike. Like the picture we have is like, I think they're about to go hit that mountain or whatever. I'm not thinking like anything big. We're not hitting that Appalachians and we're going on the Appalachian Trail or whatever. But I mean, you could, I guess. But like in my mind, my biggest experience with hiking is camping. We always hit trails. Camping, you always get out in nature and go on some trail somewhere and go somewhere and walk a few miles or whatever, and you're just out and about in nature for hours or whatever. And even more recently, I went on a hike not too far from here, not horribly long ago. I can walk for a significant amount of time. Like I got walking legs, so I don't know. I like hiking. I don't do it nearly enough. I'm kind of a social hiker. I want to go with someone. But if we're doing that lonely camping trip, it's great. Let's go find yourself in the woods, man.
That's right.
So yeah, I would rate it pretty highly, especially since hiking is like, again, talking about summer, right? You want it to be nice out, and you want the weather to be warm or whatever. I don't see like hiking in the cold to be very fun. So I'd put it, I don't know. Well, you're really big into it. Where do you want to put it?
Yeah, this was in the last handful of years, we really got into it, and I really enjoy it. My vote would probably be behind camping in S.
Once again, going all the way to S with it.
Now, I will say this. I'm not we just day hike. We have never done like the extended trips, but I have hiked one mountain. A small, not as big as that, a small mountain, and then a bunch of other like things that are almost mountains but not quite. And it's a lot of that's a ton of fun. So I don't know, I really do love it a lot. It's the one thing that I would, if I had to throw everything else away just for outdoor activities in general, I would, but I could keep one, and it would be hiking probably for me. So I have a pretty strong thing about it. But when it comes to summer, I think the camping experience, just because it's all-encompassing with a lot of these things, still should go above it. If we need to compromise, I will not go any lower than top of A.
Well, because that was what I was going to ask you. Like which you already answered. It's like you would put that above the cookout experience.
Yes.
I probably wouldn't. But like, it's not because I dislike the hiking. It's just I think the cookout is more like, I'm more of a laid back guy, so I would like put it behind cookout. But I'll tell you what, put it at the bottom of your S. I'm totally okay with that, because I will say I've been on a few. I have been on a few mountain hikes. I have family in Washington, so we'll hit like Mount Spokane or whatever. I've been on a couple of hikes on mountains or whatever, and they're beautiful, and they're really nice. And I've been in Appalachians, so like they're beautiful. And if you can get out and just day hike or whatever, just walk, especially with people you're just walking. You know what I mean?
But it really is beautiful, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I put it above the cookout because, the cookout, the overall experience, more chilling out, that's great, but you're not going to get those. There's something beautiful, and it's rare that you go out there and see those sights, and when you do, it's just it can be just an amazing experience. So, all right, here's our list here. We've got, for our favorite summer activities, in the S tier, we've got camping, and then we have hiking. After that, in the A tier, we've got grilling out, relaxing, all cool, shooting some beat ball outside of the cool. After that, we have the beach below that in A. And then in B, we got a few. Kind of sat in the middle here. We had fishing, hanging out in the lake, and then bonfires. And then in C, we've got jogging. If you were to ask me my predictions, this is kind of where I thought it was going to go. This
I
is
will say
kind of
this is probably very controversial because I know plenty of people that are all about the lake life, and fishing in lakes should be way higher. So
Yeah.
a little controversial, I think, for some, but
I think for us, I kind of saw this coming. But I really didn't know where you stood on the fishing. That's one thing I didn't know. So, but now I know. It's all about learning.
Fishing's all right. But like we put in B, it's
Yeah, I
middle of
know.
the road. It's
fine.
all right.
Yeah.
I'm not a
it's
I'm not
fine.
a big fisherman. I'm not like, and I'm not a person who's never done it or whatever. So
Right.
fishing's all right.
You know what you have done, Weston? You've done
What have I done?
things. You've done things online. Why don't you tell us all the things you do online?
So at my OnlyFans,
Go on.
no, I like it. Not even a chuckle. You're like, he might have one, guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Any day now, we're waiting on it. I'll get back to you on that.
Okay.
You can check out all the things that I do. I've got a landing page. It's at westonhasty.com. Landing page for all my things. You can check out whatever I do. Primarily YouTube. I'm a gamer over there. If you're into like gaming Let's Plays and stuff, Magic Man Mo. If you want to read some poetry, hastilymadedecision.com. Come say hi to me on Twitter. I'm doing the Twitter thing. Riding that sinking ship all the way down if possible, at Weston Hasty. Yeah, there you go. That's where you can find me.
I also have a landing page. It's alexduquette.net. You can see what I do. It's primarily in the music realm. I have original music, but I also do these things called medleys, where I take a bunch of songs, take little pieces of them, and then put them into one big song. It's a lot of fun. I usually do it for TV show theme songs and some other things as well. So go check all of that out at alexduquette.net. I have a Twitter, and I did sign. I used to play the Twitter game. There's no shame in that. But I will say I haven't really touched it for a long time. But I did randomly just get on it just to see what was happening. And my first, you know what I'm talking about, Weston.
Yeah.
The first post I saw was him, and it was, what was the picture of it? They were in a stall, but it was from the point of view sitting on the toilet, looking at the stall door.
Yeah, the occupied and not occupied handle. That's what you were looking at. And
Right,
on
and then
one side, on the occupied, if you turned it to occupied, someone had markered in "Don't poop with friends," and on the unoccupied, it said
Unlock,
"Poop
yeah.
with friends."
Poop with friends. Oh my gosh, that's such a funny, the whole thing. All right.
And my tweet was, "I'm at the poop with friends stage of life."
Throw caution to the wind. Why not?
Come on in. You're
All
not
right,
going
well,
to
that's
see
our-
anything that I'm worried about. Come on in.
That's all right. Listen, everybody, poop with friends, but do it carefully. And we'll see you next time.
Bye. Come poop
See ya.
with us.
Come poop. Well, should we?
I
Should
don't
we
know about
encourage
that one.
this?
My OnlyFans.
Yeah, wait for the OnlyFans. There's some kinky stuff right there.
2 podcasters, 1 cut.
Oh, God.